So, I'm going to talk about something here that is a really empowering concept. And it's something that I have really seek sought to really understood in a more in-depth kind of way because I recognize the inherent power and freedom that exist in understanding what I'm about to talk about. And it's the kind of thing that you can apply to it's very simple, and despite how complex this all might seem or the way I explain it, it's actually a very simple thing that if you get it and you understand it, you can apply it to your life from the perspective of whether you feel stuck or like your life isn't going anywhere, or if you're trying to reach the heights of human potential. It's really just understanding this and owning it and applying it that's going to make the difference. And so, what it is, what I'm referring to, and what I'm talking about is very much based on the nature of habits. We've heard that human beings are creatures of habits, there's all these things, but we can observe this. We can see that people do the same things over and over again, most of the time without even thinking about it. We get involved in a certain thing, we just keep doing it, and it just goes, we just keep repeating these same things. In its worst example, through, hardcore addiction and dysfunctional behaviors and abuse and things of that nature. But interestingly, we also see the same process applying towards, the heights of human potential of great athletes or great whatever, musicians, artists, people who are trying to achieve greatness. And so the concept is this, and this is kind of where it all stems from. Usually, okay, and everybody's different. Everybody has a different way that they perceive the world. We come into this world with a blank slate. We're born, we exist in it, and we're blank for the most part. Yes, you could argue, that we bring all these past life karmas and things with us, but let's not even get into that. Let's just focus on the very basics right now, because this is what's the most empowering of all. So we come into this world. We are a blank slate. There's nothing there but just you're a baby. You have this blank, clean awareness of reality. And then usually what happens for most people that I've encountered in this world, and many others too, is something will happen at some point, in their childhood or in their teens or wherever. Something will happen that usually is in the form of a trauma. And now this trauma may be something that is really devastating to somebody, like the loss of a loved one, or, they're physically abused or sexually abused and whatever, some really tragic, horrific, really hard to deal with kind of thing. Or it could be as simple of something as somebody made fun of you when you were a kid, and you just being a fragile, sensitive little being empathic, whatever, it affected you so deeply that it literally created a trauma in yourself. Now, what does that do from a basic psychological and biological standpoint? Because this is where the power is right here, is in understanding what happens. Because a lot of this stuff happens without us knowing, all right? So a trauma happens, right? Something happens. And when the event is happening, it's like, it's happening, and you feel this flood, this rush of chemicals or thoughts or feelings and emotions. And what it really is, these feelings and thoughts are essentially, when you break it down, they are a breakdown of chemicals being released in the brain and body, different centers of the body. And these chemicals are usually very intense. They're more of the stress kind of hormones, neuroepinephrine, corticosteroids, different types of stress hormones. They're usually released. And so what happens from that point forward, the event happens, it triggers this release, and then you're stuck, in the aftermath of coming to terms with what happened, or you're suppressing it. Either way, most people, if it's a kid, we're not really going to process it too much. We're just going to kind of suppress it. But what happens then is that stress, that event, whether it's, really significant or really, just moderately significant, it's enough to impact the neural pathways of the brain and the neural circuitry of the brain so that it does a couple things. One, it creates a new neural network or a new neural pathway that is associated with the trauma of that event, of that whatever happened. The other thing it does is the memory of that trauma and the stress hormones and the the biophysical chemicals that are released become imprinted in the biowaters of the human body. Okay, and this is a really fascinating thing because our body literally is, the cells of our body are 99.9% water. It's literally water. But not just any water, it's highly structured water. And I'm going to be getting into a lot more of these things later. I've been working with some incredible people, and we're going to bring the understanding of the truth of water, or more truths. Nobody's ever going to know the ultimate truth. But more of these things that are going to empower people and keep them in a place where they can empower themselves and feel less stuck and reach human potential. Anyway, backtracking. The water itself holds memory. Okay, this is a scientifically proven fact. There's been lots of studies that have kind of been suppressed and some that aren't. It's out there. This is what homeopathy is. For anybody who doesn't know what homeopathic medicines or remedies, you see them at the store, you see them everywhere. But essentially what it is water with particulate matter of either there's some kind of cure or remedy, or sometimes even a little particulate trace or a cellular remnant of the disease itself is put into the water. The water is then diluted. And as a result of diluting it, the water retains the memory of whatever was placed in it. And that's why homeopathy works. Research homeopathy. See how it has been used for years and years to heal people, to help with conditions, on and on and on. So, back to what I was getting to. When this trauma happens, the neural networks of the brain are now in a place where that's a significant event. That's how the brain and the body responds to it. The memory of it is in the waters. It's held in the biowaters of the body. But because we, as individuals with our limited conscious awareness, as it is in this world, don't fully understand what happened, we go about recreating situations and events and circumstances in our life that most of it's done unconsciously, but we go seeking to recreate circumstances or things that are going to bring about the flood of chemicals that are going to bring that rush of identical to the hormones that were created feelings. It's going to bring about circumstances that will recreate the feelings of these initial traumas. Most people don't know that. They don't realize that's what happened. And so what do you think is going to happen if you're going around and you're recreating circumstances to feed this rush of chemicals that first happened when you had something horrible happen to you? Then you're going to further create more memory. You're going to imprint and ingrain the dysfunction related to that initial trauma into the very fabric of your being, into the biowaters of your life. And so you're going to live your life in a way that you're always going about recreating situations that keep you stuck. And I see this with so many people. They feel like such victims. They feel so trapped. And you know what? In many ways, they are victims. They are trapped. They're in a prison of their own mind that may not initially have been of their own creation, but because they don't understand the process by which all this stuff is happening, they continue to be imprisoned in it. So now, with that in mind, what happens? How can you get out of this trap? And not only how can you get out of this trap to get unstuck in your life, but what can you do to start tapping into the heights of your human potential and recreate your life in the image of how you would like it to be, or just to create a more harmonious existence? Realize this: the very same process that happened, that imprinted you, this trauma, this rush of chemicals in your being that imprinted itself upon your neural pathways and in the water of your body can be remade. You can recreate through consistently through sorry recreate consistently through repetitious behaviors, actions, and patterns, okay, by seeking to realize that, all right, the trauma happened, it's there, but I'm going to create new memories, new experiences that kind of push that old programming down. And not to suppress it, but you're by creating new neural pathways in the brain, and new memories in the water, then you are literally recreating yourself. And what can these new memories consist of? There's lots of different ways that somebody can apply this, but the key is repetition. For me personally, I love nature. I go out in the natural world and I sit with nature and I'm just blown away by the awe and the beauty and how miraculous it is. Whether you're looking at the ground and you're seeing a little ant colony, just, they're going about their whole thing and they've got it completely just, they're so in alignment at this little tiny level. Or the other night, I put my sleeping bag outside. The sky was crystal clear, and I just laid up and I looked at the stars, and I blew my mind. Literally, just when you consider that, these great systems of the universe that exist, and these little microsystems of an ant colony are all part of the same thing, and on many different levels, they're working synergistically with one another. To me, that creates an experience in my perception of reality that is very significant. It's very impactful. My cells, my being, my whole self, my true authentic self lights up, and I get excited and I get happy and I feel tremendous gratitude and joy for the fact that I just got to experience a piece of reality, a really significant piece of reality. And so just by the fact of me choosing to engage with the world in that way, I've created a new neural network, new neural pathways. I've created a new memory of something that was very significant that is then being imprinted into the water, the biowaters of my body. And with the memory, okay, I got results. I did it. I went out, I enjoyed it, I had a great thing. And it gave me results that, you know what, I want to recreate these results because that worked. It did something significant. It made me feel really, really good. I felt like it's not just me and my problems. I'm a part of something that's way greater than just me. And so the way I would do it unconsciously before, of seeking to recreate problems to feed the rush of chemicals, I'm now doing it in a very conscious way. I'm going out and I'm intentionally seeking to recreate experiences that are going to feed this gratitude that I feel for life, this awe and wonder that is inherent in my conscious perception of reality. It's in the unconscious too. I try to keep this simple. And as a result of doing this consistently over and over and over again, then I'm literally flooding my body with chemicals of the exact opposite, these feel-good chemicals. I don't even know their names. I'm not a scientist. Dopamine, serotonin, whatever, there's a bunch. But it doesn't matter because you can feel this. This is experiential. You don't need mental concepts. You don't need to understand chemistry. You just need to do the practical application of choosing to empower yourself. And you know what? It's very much, it's like you're recrystallizing. We're crystallographic in nature. Our water, everything about our bones, everything is literally of the earth. So our consciousness is like the pinnacle of the crystallization. You know, sometimes I'll hold crystals that are pretty beat up and there's not a lot of life force in them. Other time there's crystals that I look at that are just so clear, they're translucent, and you can tell they have tremendous structure and order. And those ones that do emit frequencies that are very powerful. Our being is so much like, it has the potential to be like these crystals. If only we choose to purify our perception of reality, to cleanse our perception of self and reality, and do it incessantly. Make a habit out of it. Become addicted. Yes, I'm using a word with usual negative connotations. Become addicted to loving your life, to loving this world, to loving the very simple and basic components of your human existence. Realize that there is profound innate intelligence in your very being. The very you, the person that feels stuck, that's going through these mental patterns of, oh, my life, and oh, why does this keep happening to me? And oh, God, what can I do? Please help me. You can literally climb out of that by just being grateful for what you have. And what you have is, like I just said, it's this profound innate intelligence that is literally residing within every cell of your being. It's causing your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe. It's causing thoughts to arise in your mind. I mean, it goes on and on. The miracle that you are, the physics behind the fact that you exist in a human body and are having this experience through these human senses and perception is nothing short of a miracle beyond all miracles. And if you, with your ego as your human personality, your little tiny self, can just start to realize that, start to create experiences where you further realize that, and just commit to continuing to do that, you are going to recreate new neural pathways, a new memory in the waters of your body, and you will seek to experience things that are going to feed this awe and wonder and love that you have, this newfound wonder of life, just like we had when we were children before we were traumatized. I know I did. I know many kids I see, my kid. Children have a natural awe and wonder. They're like, wow, the world is amazing. And a lot of it is because they're young and their bodies are developing and all those feel-good chemicals are just pulsing through their body. But as we grow older, we begin to lose that. Why? Because we are creatures of habit. And if we don't understand how the habit creation process works, we do become victims to it. But when we understand how it works and we intentionally apply it to our lives and in the circumstances of our life, we are no longer victims. We become empowered. And this is what it is. This is how you do it. So this video went a little bit longer than I wanted, but I wanted to express this because it's so fundamental and it's so important, and it can make such a tremendous difference in anybody's life. And literally, whether it's just coming out of the depths of despair, if that's what it works for that, if you just need to start coming out of this shallow, painful, hurtful thing that you're going through, it works for that. Or again, like I said, if you're gung-ho, like I am going to achieve something that has yet to be seen or known in the human experience, if that's your goals, great. This same process can be applied no matter what. So, love you guys. I love life. And I personally want to see more empowered individuals in this world. And I want to see more individuals empowering other individuals to live empowered in this world. But not just empowered, empowered in alignment with the natural world as it exists, because that's where the true creative process is. And when we do that, then we help pass down this knowledge, this wisdom, this awareness to our children, the ones who are going to literally inherit this world. And there needs to be a lot more brighter, shinier examples of this for our kids. So thanks again, guys. Love you. Bye.